Hello. Now, just a very quick reflection on what has been for me actually quite a painful experience over the last couple of days. I was involved in I was a participant in an online spiritual circle last week, which was all about the new moon and transformation. I don't know if I should have been there. There was absolutely no indication that it was wrong for me to be there. I know the group actually that was organizing this, and it was an open invitation. So it wasn't obviously like a kind of a red tent type play event where the safety of women attending might have been important. Very much about meditation. I had a really bad experience. I think there were things going on in that particular meeting. Either it was bad energies or it was something that was certainly triggered for me, which led to exhaustion and really sapped my energy and caused a bit of a knock. If you like me talk about spiritual things, it was a spiritual knock. So I've been having to do some work to reground around that. But that was the first thing, this perplexing thing. Was I in the wrong place as a male-bodied person in possibly an event, even though it wasn't billed this way, that might have been intended for female-bodied people? Yesterday, still carrying a lot of this bad energy, I think, I nearly got into a very bad argument in London, which is very unusual for me. I would usually just walk away from situations, or I might express a few, shout out and express an opinion, but not get into something that potentially, as very nearly it seemed, could have turned potentially even violent. That was the sense I had, and certainly left me feeling very vulnerable. This was, without going into detail, it was an event in central London. I was crossing a road, nearly run over by a cyclist. Not actually, sadly, an unusual encounter in London. I was going across the footpath. It was pedestrian crossing that was meant to have a red light for cyclists and traffic, and consequently, I let loose of the cyclist. He then came back to me and, rather than actually shouting and being very violent, was incredibly good at putting me down, asking lots of questions, and I felt very muddled, very vulnerable, very not on form in terms of being able to kind of stand my ground. In this sort of transactional analysis type relationship, I felt very much like the child being put down, and that he was kind of taking the high moral ground there, even though I felt that the actual situation didn't justify that. I felt that vulnerability throughout the rest of the day, and actually had to go back today to that very place. I was passing through to try and clear that energy and get over what could have been almost a minor trauma, almost association with place, which I think I did. But this kind of experience I had, this sense of being almost what felt like a kind of abuse. I hesitate to use that word because I know it is not as strong as that, but this real being put down and feeling disarmed, I had a sense was possibly something that, I am generalizing here, of course, but a lot of women would experience. Those who've not perhaps grown up with training in being assertive, it's the way they've been socialized. And when you have quite a powerful, I think it was a high-flying, pretty slick, fast-speaking, much faster brain working than mine, clever guy putting you down, that's a very unpleasant feeling. So I had a bit of a taste for that, I think, yesterday. As I say, I'm generalizing there about men and women, but I think that's not an unusual, sadly, situation. So some interesting things going on here in terms of, should I been in a place as a male-bodied person, and then coming to this place where I felt very much the energy for me was, if not feminine, so the way I was reacting was not with a kind of what I would call an assertive and direct masculine energy. One seemed to lead to the other. Don't know what to make of this, but I thought I would share it as yet another reflection on this curious dance that goes on between the masculine and the feminine, hopefully most of the time in some sort of harmony, but on occasions coming into a few very rough um, possible confrontations like this. Anyway, all's well that ends well, for me at least in this case, but it certainly gives me a taste, I think, for that very unpleasant, abusive feeling that perhaps many do experience. I hope you're not one of them.